Close your eyes and you can still see it. Laura running downhill, Pa's steady hands, Ma's candlelit calm. But real life kept moving after the credits. Decades passed. Some stars grew older in quiet grace. Others left too soon, and the world Walnut Grove promised became a memory we return to when we need warmth. Tonight, we remember Little House on the Prairie. Then, and now, 2026. Chapter 2. Charles Ingalls. Charles Ingalls was the beating heart of Little House. Soft-spoken, iron-willed, and forever trying to raise a family with dignity on an unforgiving frontier. Michael Landon, born October 31st, 1936, in Queens, New York, was 38 when he stepped into Charles's battered boots in 1974. For many viewers, he became the dream father figure, the man who could mend a wagon wheel, steady a frightened child, and still find a way to laugh through the hardest seasons. What made Landon's work endure is that he didn't play Charles as a saint. He played him as a man, tired, worried, sometimes unsure, yet determined to choose love anyway. And Landon shaped the show far beyond acting, producing, writing, and directing, guiding its tone into something gentle and moral without becoming sentimental. He built a world where decency mattered and made audiences believe it could matter in real life, too. Michael Landon died on July 1st, 1991, at 54 from pancreatic cancer. Yet his image remains timeless. Sleeves rolled up, arms around his family, proof that strength and tenderness can live in the same frame. Chapter 3. Caroline Ingalls. Caroline Ingalls' Ma was the calm center of the home, the quiet force that kept chaos from becoming collapse. Karen Grassel, born February 25th, 1942, in Berkeley, California, was 32 when she first wore Caroline's apron. With stage-trained intelligence and warmth, she made Ma feel like a real 19th century woman. Resourceful, steady, and strong without cruelty. Grassel's performance mattered because it honored the unseen labor of women. Caroline's heroism wasn't loud. It lived in bread baked, wounds cleaned, lessons taught, and the constant emotional work of keeping a family kind when life had every reason to make them bitter. Grassel gave that work dignity. She let Caroline's strength show through composure, not speeches, through a look that said, "We will survive this," even when the winter felt endless. Beyond Walnut Grove, Grassel continued performing and later spoke openly about her life and advocacy. In 2026, Karen Grassel is 84, still remembered as the face at the kitchen window, candlelight on her cheeks, believing in her family even when the world threatened to break it. Chapter 4. Carrie Ingalls. Carrie was the Prairie's innocence, blonde curls, wide eyes, and that small child wonder that made Walnut Grove feel alive. The role was shared by twins Lindsay and Sydney Greenbush, born May 25, 1970 in Los Angeles, who were only 4 when they began in 1974. Many viewers never even realized there were 2 Carries, a seamless illusion built under strict child labor rules and careful production. Their presence mattered because Carrie wasn't about plot. She was about feeling. In a show full of illness, loss, and moral trials, Carrie's smallness reminded audiences what the adults were fighting to protect: childhood, joy, and the simple right to grow up safe. And as the twins aged, the characters' moments expanded from gentle mischief to quieter scenes that carried emotional weight in their simplicity. Lindsay eventually stepped away from acting, choosing a life far from Hollywood's noise, though she has returned occasionally for reunions. In 2026, the twins are 56, forever remembered as the little girl running down that iconic hill, laughter trailing behind her like sunlight. Chapter 5. Mary Ingalls. Mary Ingalls began as the beautiful good daughter, studious, gentle, a steady counterpoint to Laura's fire. Then came the storyline that defined her, the illness that took her sight. Melissa Sue Anderson, born September 26, 1962, in Berkeley, California, was only 12 when she began in 1974, yet she delivered Mary's transformation with striking maturity. Anderson's performance mattered because it asked audiences to witness resilience without romanticizing it. Mary's blindness wasn't a single dramatic episode. It was a new life, The show let her grieve, adapt, struggle, and rebuild into a teacher and a woman of faith. Anderson played those stages with control and honesty, earning an Emmy nomination and leaving behind one of classic television's most lasting depictions of disability and determination. After Little House, she continued acting, though for millions, she remains Mary, hands searching across unfamiliar spaces, refusing to surrender to despair. In 2026, Melissa Sue Anderson is 64, and rewatching her now, you feel the rare power of a young actress who carried a story far bigger than her years. Chapter 6. Harriet Olsen. Harriet Olsen was Walnut Grove's sharp-tongued storm, gossip as sport, social status as religion, and every town meeting turned into her personal stage. Catherine McGregor, born January 12, 1925, in Glendale, California, was 49 when she took on the role in 1974. She played Harriet with theatrical precision, deliciously wicked, yet never just a cartoon. McGregor's performance mattered because she understood what makes a great television antagonist: complexity under the comedy. Beneath Harriet's snobbery were flashes of vulnerability, loneliness, insecurity, the fear of being invisible. Those small cracks made her entertaining and strangely human. She didn't ask you to forgive Harriet, but she made you understand why someone might cling to superiority when they feel small inside. After the series, McGregor stepped away from television, focusing on theater and spiritual pursuits. She died on November 13, 2018, at 93. Yet in reruns, she still stands behind the mercantile counter, chin lifted, eyes narrowed, proving that even the most difficult characters can become unforgettable when played with true craft. Chapter 7. Nels Oleson. Where Harriet was thunder, Nels Oleson was calm weather, fair-minded, quietly humorous, and perpetually caught between conscience and a domineering wife. Richard Bull, born June 26, 1924, in Zion, Illinois, was 50 when he first donned Nels's waistcoat in 1974. In lesser hands, the role could have been reduced to a punchline. Bull made Nels a quiet hero. His performance mattered because it showed goodness without showmanship. Nels tried to run an honest business, raise his children decently, and keep peace in a town where pride and gossip traveled faster than wagons. Bull played him with subtlety, patience in the eyes, a fatigue in the shoulders, and a gentle strength that emerged when it truly mattered. In a series built on moral lessons, Nels represented one of the hardest, staying kind while living beside constant noise. Bull was known off-screen as a modest, gentle man, and he continued working across television. He passed away on February 3, 2014, at 89. And whenever fans remember the mercantile, they remember him too, polishing the counter in silence, dignity intact, while chaos swirled beside him. Chapter 8. Willie Olson. Willie Olson began as the mercantile's mischief maker, spoiled, pouty, always one prank away from trouble. But over the years, Little House did something rare. It let Willie grow. Jonathan Gilbert, born April 28, 1967, in Los Angeles, was only 7 when he first appeared in 1974, and his natural comic timing made Willie a bright spark in episodes that often carried heavy themes. What made Gilbert's performance last is that Willie never felt like a one-note joke. Yes, he mugged for laughs, rolled his eyes, pulled faces behind the counter, but the character's gradual shift toward maturity gave him surprising depth. In a town built on moral lessons, Willie became a quiet reminder that children aren't fixed stories. They change, they learn, they become better, sometimes slowly, sometimes painfully, but truly. After the series ended, Gilbert stepped away from acting and chose privacy, building a life far from cameras and fanfare. That decision has only deepened the show's mythology, because the child we watched grow up on screen quietly vanished into adulthood. In 2026, Jonathan Gilbert is 59, and on the Prairie, he remains forever the boy behind the mercantile counter, proof that even the noisiest child can become someone new. Chapter 9. Dr. Hiram Baker. Dr. Hiram Baker was Walnut Grove's steady pulse in a world where a simple fever could turn deadly overnight. Kevin Hagan, born April 3, 1928 in Chicago, was 46 when he first appeared as the town physician. Rumpled coat, thoughtful eyes, and a quiet urgency that made every house call feel real. Hagan's performance mattered because he played Dr. Baker as more than a plot device. He wasn't the doctor who arrives. He was a man carrying the weight of other people's fear, riding through storms, accepting little payment, and offering something as valuable as medicine: reassurance. In frontier life, compassion is often the only safety net, and Hagan made that compassion believable. He looked like a man who had seen suffering and refused to let it harden his heart. After Little House, Hagan continued acting and later performed one-man shows, reflecting on a long career shaped by craft rather than celebrity. He died on July 9, 2005, at 77 from esophageal cancer. And in reruns, his Dr. Baker remains one of television's most beloved frontier doctors, quiet proof that empathy can be its own kind of heroism. Chapter 10. Nellie Oleson. Nellie Oleson may be the most infamous spoiled girl in classic television. Ringlets, frills, and a cruelty sharpened into comedy. Allison Arngrim, born January 18, 1962, in New York City, was just 12 when she took on the role in 1974, and she played mean with such precision that audiences couldn't help but be entertained, even when they wanted to scold her. Arngrim's performance mattered because she made Nellie watchable. The timing was impeccable, the expressions operatic, the insults delivered like tiny daggers wrapped in lace. But what truly kept the character alive were the glimpses underneath: insecurity, loneliness, the fear that without status, she would disappear. As the series moved forward, marriage, adulthood, change, Nellie became a portrait of someone trying, however clumsily, to grow beyond how she was raised. Off-screen, Arngrim later spoke openly about a difficult childhood and transformed her platform into advocacy and support for survivors. In 2026, Allison Arngrim is 64, still connected to fans, still capable of turning pain into purpose. And on the Prairie, Nellie remains unforgettable, a character you love to hate and secretly admire for the craft it took to bring her to life. Chapter 11. Reverend Alden. Reverend Alden was Walnut Grove's spiritual steady hand, not preachy, not theatrical, just present. Dabbs Greer, born April 2, 1917, in Independence, Missouri, was 57 when he first appeared, bringing a lived-in warmth that made the town's little white church feel like a refuge rather than a stage. Greer's performance mattered because he understood quiet authority. Reverend Alden wasn't there to deliver grand sermons for applause. He was there in the smaller moments: coffee at the table, a careful word when grief had no language, a hand on a shoulder that said, "You're not alone." In a series devoted to community, he represented the kind of faith built from daily decency rather than spectacle. Greer's kind eyes and gentle cadence made viewers believe in the comfort of a neighbor who listens before he speaks. Greer continued acting well into old age, later appearing memorably in The Green Mile. He passed away on April 28, 2007, at 90. And in reruns, Reverend Alden remains a comforting figure, proof that sometimes the strongest presence in a story is the one that never raises its voice. Chapter 12. Almanzo Wilder. Almanzo. Wilder brought new electricity into Walnut Grove, the kind that shifts a show from childhood adventures into adult life. Dean Butler, born May 20, 1956, in Prince George, British Columbia, was 23 when he joined the cast. With an easy smile and steady calm, he made Almanzo feel like a real young man of the era, hard-working, independent, and just stubborn enough to match Laura's fire. Butler's performance mattered because the Laura and Almanzo courtship became one of classic television's most enduring love stories. It wasn't only romance, it was growth. Through him, viewers watched Laura become a woman, learning how love changes you, how commitment tests you, how a shared future is built in small choices, not grand declarations. Butler played Almanzo without forcing charm. He let decency be the attraction. After Little House, Butler continued acting and moved into producing and directing, including documentaries about the series itself, an artist helping preserve the very memory he helped create. In 2026, Dean Butler is 70, and for fans, he remains Almanzo, reins in hand, glancing at Laura beside him as they begin a life the audience never stopped rooting for. Chapter 13, Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards arrived like rough timber, booming laugh, heavy hands, and a heart big enough to make him family. Victor French, born December 4th, 1934, in Santa Barbara, was 40 when he first played Edwards. Under the beard and overalls was a performer who could turn from broad comedy to devastating drama without ever feeling false. French's performance mattered because Edwards became one of the show's emotional pillars. He wasn't perfect. He wrestled with grief, depression, and the consequences of his own flaws. The series allowed him to fall apart and rebuild, and French met those arcs with honesty that deepened the show's soul. In a world of moral lessons, Mr. Edwards carried one of the hardest truths. Sometimes being good isn't a permanent state. It's a choice you have to make again after life breaks you. After Little House, French reunited with Michael Landon on Highway to Heaven, extending a partnership audiences trusted. He died on June 15, 1989, at 54 from lung cancer. And still, his Mr. Edwards remains beloved, the rough man with the gentle soul, always ready with a joke, a song, or a helping hand. Chapter 14, Jonathan Garvey. Jonathan Garvey brought a different kind of strength to the Prairie, big in stature, gentle in spirit, and steady in the way true friends often are. Merlin Olsen, born September 15, 1940 in Logan, Utah, joined Little House at 37, coming from a legendary football career and a Hall of Fame legacy. Yet what surprised audiences was his softness, a man who looked intimidating but played fatherhood and friendship with quiet, emotional truth. Olsen's performance mattered because Garvey expanded the show's idea of community, and his scenes with Charles Ingalls felt like real friendship. Two men sharing burdens without needing to announce them. And his relationship with his on-screen son, Andy, showed the tender struggle of parenting in hard times. Doing your best, making mistakes, loving anyway. Olsen proved that strength and kindness aren't opposites, they're partners. After Little House, he continued acting, starred in Father Murphy, and worked as a commentator. He died on March 11, 2010, at 69 from mesothelioma. And in reruns, Jonathan Garvey remains a steady presence, like a strong fence on a windy day, holding the shape of a life built on decency. Chapter 15, Miss Beadle. Miss Beadle was the Prairie's quiet promise, education, patience, and a belief that children could become more than circumstance. Charlotte Stewart, born February 27, 1941, in Yuba City, California, was 33 when she first rang the school bell, and she played the teacher with warmth and dignity, firm without cruelty, gentle without weakness. Stewart's performance mattered because the Walnut Grove schoolhouse wasn't just a location, it was the future trying to be born. Miss Beadle guided Laura, Mary, Nellie, Willie, and the rest through lessons and conflicts that mirrored growing up itself, learning fairness, humility, and responsibility. Stewart gave the character an unforced authority that many viewers recognized instantly. The best teachers aren't loud, they're steady. They make you feel safe enough to learn. Off-screen, Stewart later spoke candidly about personal struggles and earned new respect for her honesty. In 2026, Charlotte Stewart is 85, still warmly embraced by fans. And on screen, she remains at the front of that one-room schoolhouse, chalk in hand, turning small-town childhood into a bridge towards something bigger. Chapter 16, Andy Garvey. Andy Garvey arrived with curiosity and mischief, bright-eyed, quick-thinking, and occasionally one bad decision away from a lesson he didn't want. Patrick Labourteau, born July 22, 1965, in Los Angeles, was about 12 when he joined, giving Andy a natural charm that let the character grow from playful troublemaker into a more thoughtful young man. His performance mattered because Andy felt like a real kid, torn between what's fun and what's right, learning the difference the hard way. In a series that balanced hardship with hope, Andy brought youthful energy without losing emotional truth. He made the Garvey family feel lived in, and his bond with Laura gave the show a friendship that felt like genuine childhood, not staged, but remembered. Patrick went on to build a strong career, including a long-running role on JAG, and continued working steadily across television and voice projects. In 2026, Patrick Labiorteaux is 61, and in Walnut Grove, he remains the freckle-faced boy trying to choose better. Proof that growing up is a story made of small choices repeated until they become character. Chapter 17. Lars Hansen. Lars Hansen felt like the bedrock of Walnut Grove. The older man who helped build the town, offered work, and carried community memory like a quiet responsibility. Carl Swenson, born July 23, 1908, in Brooklyn, New York, was 66 when he took on the role. With a gentle manner and a twinkle of humor, he made Lars feel like someone every small town once had, the steady elder who remembers the past and still believes in the future. Swenson's performance mattered because it gave the Prairie a sense of real history. In a show about building life from wilderness, Lars Hansen represented the builders, the people who don't seek spotlight, yet make survival possible for everyone else. Swenson brought gravitas without heaviness, turning simple scenes into something quietly touching. Swenson died on October 8, 1978, at 70. Not long after the show wrote his character's passing, making the farewell feel especially poignant. And in reruns, he still stands by the mill, hat in hand, reminding us that communities aren't built by speeches, but by good people quietly doing their best for one another. Chapter 18. Laura Ingalls. Laura Ingalls was the Prairie's eyes, curious, stubborn, quick to flare, quick to love. Melissa Gilbert, born May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles, was only 10 when she stepped into Laura's boots. It was an enormous responsibility, and she rose to it with emotional depth that carried the series through its most powerful years. Gilbert's performance mattered because audiences didn't just watch Laura, they grew up with her. The show captured childhood joys, injustices, heartbreaks, and the slow, painful process of becoming an adult. Gilbert made Laura's determination feel natural, not scripted. The girl who questioned unfairness, who fought for the people she loved, and who learned that growing up means caring more than you thought you could. Through Laura, Walnut Grove became more than a setting. It became a memory of how life felt when everything was first discovered. After the series, Gilbert continued acting and directing, and later served as president of the Screen Actors Guild, becoming a prominent voice for performers. In 2026, Melissa Gilbert is 62, and to generations of viewers, she will always be Laura, braids flying, eyes fixed on the horizon, trying to understand the world and her place within it. Chapter 19. Albert Ingalls and Conclusion. Albert Ingalls arrived carrying streetwise toughness and a quiet plea for belonging. Matthew Labiorteaux, born December 8, 1966, in Los Angeles, joined the series around age 10, and he gave Albert one of Little House's most emotional arcs, defiance softening into trust, anger revealing fear, love finally becoming something he could accept. Labiorteaux's performance mattered because Albert's story widened the show's meaning of family. The Ingalls didn't fix him with a speech. They stayed again and again until he believed he deserved to be stayed for. Albert's episodes, identity, illness, addiction, and the difficult consequences of choices pushed the series into darker, more realistic territory. And Labiorteaux played it with raw sincerity, never glamorizing the pain, always keeping Albert human. After Little House, he continued acting and later built a strong second career in voice work, proving his talent could live beyond the frame. In 2026, Matthew Labiorteaux is 60, and for many fans, Albert remains the show's quiet reminder. Family isn't only blood, it's the people who choose you, especially when you believe you're unchoosable. Though the lights on the Prairie have dimmed, the people who live there in our hearts never truly disappear. Some are still with us in 2026. Many have gone, but every rerun keeps their voices close, like footsteps on a familiar porch. If one story brought you home tonight, share it in the comments. And if you'd like more tributes to classic television legends, please like, subscribe,